Hi there and welcome to our first video on this topic. In this video we're going to be looking at types of numbers and BIDMAS. So let's get started. So first of all we're going to have a look at what an integer is. So the exact definition of an integer is this. An integer is another name for a whole number, and it can be either positive or negative or zero. So just have a think to yourself, what are some examples of integers? Integers include whole numbers. So let's write an example of a whole number. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. It can be a negative number as well. So it can be something like -10, -11, -12. And it can be 0, so we can just have 0, and all these would be examples of integers. So what are some examples of numbers that are not integers? So anything that doesn't come in this categories of numbers would be classified as not integers. So maybe a fraction, maybe a recurring decimal, it could be 0.3 reoccurring, maybe surds, the square root of 2. Those sorts of stuff are not integers. Now next type of numbers are rational and irrational numbers. Rational numbers can be written as fractions, and irrational numbers can't be written as fractions. And there are three types of categories in rational numbers, and that is integers, fractions, terminating or recurring decimals. So rational numbers are numbers that can be written as fractions. So integers can be just, as a rational number it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, as this can be the same as maybe 1 over 1, 2 over 2. They can all be written as integers. So for example, if we have 4 over 2, that can be simplified to 2. And now we have fractions, so maybe a half, 3/4, 7/8, anything of that sort of stuff. And terminating or recurring decimals, these include decimals like maybe 0.3 reoccurring, or maybe 0.2 reoccurring, or 1/3. These are this written as a decimal would be 0.3 as a reoccurring. So rational numbers are things like that, and irrational numbers are everything which are not included in this. They can't be written as fractions. Okay, so moving on to BIDMAS. BIDMAS stands for brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. Brackets, we have brackets, numbers around this set of symbols. Indices, something like x squared, we have the small 2 at the top. Division, we have the division sign. Multiplication, we have the multiplication sign or maybe an asterisk at the top. An addition sign or a subtraction sign. And BIDMAS means that it has to be followed in this order. And over here we have an image. BIDMAS tells us the order of operations. We have brackets over here. So you start off with brackets, then you move on to indices, and then you can either have divide and multiply, any of them, because they're both at the same level. And then you can have either add or subtract because they're both at the same level as well. And the exact definition of BIDMAS is, BIDMAS tells you the order in which these operations should be done. So looking at example, if we had maybe 3 squared subtract 7 minus 4, what would we do? Well, we would do brackets first. So we would take this apart and we would do 7 take away 4 gives us an answer of 3. And now 3 squared would give you 9, and then you would have 9 minus 3, which would give you an answer of 6. So the answer to this one would be 6. In our next video, we're going to be looking at some exam questions related to this topic. In the description box below, there's a link to a quiz which you can have a go at. And that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. And one last thing, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell.